Hello, this is Dr. J, and welcome to Let's Play The Legend of Zelda, the Ocarina of Time. It's been a while since I last played a Zelda game on this channel, but I feel like it's time to revisit for me, visit for the first time on this channel, my tied for my all-time favorite Zelda game, tied with Twilight Princess. Now, this is one of those rare games that I like so much. I've actually cleared it multiple times. I'm erasing my practice file here, or my test file, really. I've cleared this game about 3 times, I think, which, for me, that is a lot. It's relatively rare for me to replay games like that, which just shows how much I like this one. It has been a while since I last played it. Approximately 5 years or so, I think. So the way I'm going to approach this playthrough is going to be kind of similar to how I did my Link to the Past playthrough, which is to say I'm unlikely to 100% the game. I'm very unlikely to get all 100 Gold Skulltulas because the prize for doing so is just so pathetically bad. Probably won't even get every single heart piece. Most likely what I'll do is I'll just get secrets that I find naturally through exploration, secrets where I do remember where they were, or secrets that I think are so valuable or interesting that I'm willing to go out of my way to get them. But aside from that, I'll mostly stick to doing the main storyline. So that's the kind of playthrough this is going to be. And as I said, I've cleared this game several times, but it has been about 5 years since I've last played it. So it's not going to be a speed run or a super play or anything, but hopefully just a competent, fun playthrough by somebody who knows the game fairly well but doesn't have every little nook and cranny memorized. That said, let's jump into it. I don't think there's a way for me to speed up the text, or I would. One of my few complaints about the game. That said, I do think that the game does a good job of setting up the atmosphere and the tone here at the beginning. And suddenly it becomes lighthearted and frolicking. Ironically, for what I think is one of the best games of all time, the game starts a little slow. You are basically forced through a mandatory tutorial here at the beginning in the Kokiri town. But it doesn't take too long to get through it, fortunately. Hello, Navi. Infamously annoying fairy companion. Also, such a classic JRPG trope. Our hero is asleep and has to be woken up at the beginning of the game. Just how many JRPGs start out this way, anyhow? Like, all of them? I know, it's not actually all of them, but it's a lot. Alright, we have control. The graphics admittedly are dated. The textures in the Nintendo 64 were very low resolution. The models are low poly. So it shows its age, but by the standards of early 3D, which in general hasn't aged well, but by those standards, this game actually still looks quite good. It did about as well with this style of graphics as it's possible to do, I think. And it looks good enough that it doesn't really detract from the experience of playing the game. More cutscening. Here's our very low poly friend, Saria. Hello, Saria. Saria follows the trope of being our eternally friend-zoned childhood friend type who very clearly has a crush on Link. Poor Saria. She's actually kind of tragic. Alright, so like I said, we have sort of a mandatory tutorial section that we have to get through before we can get to the real game. We might as well enjoy it, run around talking to people. Yep. This leads out of the forest, I do believe. So this rather aggressive-looking child, who clearly sees using the Force because he can't see through those bangs, blocks our way. Because apparently Kokiri die. Apparently Kokiri die if they leave the woods. Oh, it begins. Navi is going to nag us obnoxiously anytime we're not doing what she thinks we need to be doing. I know, Navi. I'm exploring. I'm enjoying the game. Go away. There are draw distance issues, as you can see, where characters don't pop in until you're fairly close to them. Cut us some slack. The N64 wasn't exactly super powerful. I wish I had a way to speed up the text without just skipping straight to the last text box. But I don't think I do. Oh, hey up there. Yep, like I said, tutorializing. So obviously Link having not had a fairy until just now, whereas all the other Kokiri have fairies, is a big plot point. Okay, yeah, I don't need to hear all that. Thank you, though. This is the shop. We are going to have to use it before we're allowed to proceed to the first dungeon. So the Great Deku Tree is over this way, but here's another obnoxious Kokiri lad who's not letting us by. Man, how do they slide across the ground like that? They've got some mad skills. This is Mido. He's kind of a bully and a jerk. Or maybe it's supposed to be pronounced Mido. That would be the Japanese pronunciation, but I'm going to pronounce it Mido because I think it sounds less stupid. He just can't believe that we have a fairy and we've been summoned by the Great Deku Tree. The text is so slow. Okay, so he is not going to let us by till we have a sword and shield. I guess he thinks this is going to prevent us from seeing the Great Deku Tree. As it turns out, getting a sword and shield is not particularly difficult. So Mido must be a special kind of incompetent that he apparently can't achieve this great feat himself. Alright, first thing we're going to do is go fetch the sword, which will be up here. While we're at it, we might as well check out some of these giant tree stump structures. House of the Know-It-All Brothers. I will admit, man, that is a low resolution texture. Holy cow. So, you're just going to tutorialize me? He's just going to tutorialize me. I don't need to know about anything. Thanks, though. Oh, wow, look at all these guys. No thanks, I know how. If you play around with it, you'll figure it out. True enough. I'm good, thanks so. I will break your pots for rupees, because we're going to need 40 rupees. You find the sword, but you have to purchase the shield. Fortunately, rupees are surprisingly plentiful in this fairy person forest village. Alright, so it tells us, here's the forest training center. Don't recklessly cut signs. Oh, don't worry, once we have a sword, we're going to recklessly cut signs all day long. Well, this kid will tutorialize us as well. Alright, so we'll crawl through this little opening here. Get some more rupees. These signs will explain how to use the camera. The camera is mostly automatic, but if you press Z, you will focus the camera behind yourself. I don't know why there's these boulders eternally rolling around in here. It's pretty magical. But I mean, this little town is also inhabited by immortal eternal fairy children, so let's not worry about things like eternally rolling boulders. The powers of the Great Deku Tree are grand and mysterious indeed. And we acquire the Kokiri Sword. It forces me to read all of this. Hint, we're never going to be giving this back. It says borrow it for a while, but it is ours forever. Alright, so now we bring up the status screen. We've got a map. We have revealed basically nothing because it's the beginning of the game. We have acquired nothing because it's basically the beginning of the game. Here's where we equip different kinds of gear. We shall equip our sword. And we also have no items, again, because it's the beginning of the game. Would you like to save? Not right now. Okay, let's try not to get crushed by a boulder on our way out. Oh, so much for not getting crushed by the boulder on our way out. Alright, now that we have a sword, we can cut grass in fine Zelda tradition for rupees and hearts and other kinds of refills. Alright, now, first we're going to relentlessly cut the signs that told us not to cut them because we're a rebel. Cut more grass. So now we need to get 40 rupees so we can purchase the shield from the shop. Ooh, look at all the rupees that came out of that piece of shrub. Alright, well let's investigate some of the other houses while we're at it. And I think we can, once again, jump across these platforms for another 5 rupees. It is not difficult to acquire rupees here, which is fortunate. You look like you're having issues, lad. That's a terrible song. So, Mido is quite the tyrannical overlord, it appears. Pressing the other Kokiri into doing menial labor for him. We will rob him blind in retribution. Rebellion! Power to the people! Alright, we're already up to the requisite number of rupees. Recovery heart, not that we need it. And a single rupee. Stunning. Okay, well, we have the money we need now, so back to the shop. Which was over this way, I think. Let's see. Anywhere else of interest to go before we proceed with the story? Oops. That was... How dare you? I was trying to roll, not read you. House of Twins. She says, my sister took some rupees and went shopping at the store that has a red roof. Tee-hee. Okay, and then she tells us the value of different kinds of rupees. We can't draw our sword in people's houses. Politeness, I guess. But we can still pick up and break their pots. Thank you. Farewell. Man, Link was apparently raised in a barn by rabid wolves. Alright, there's the shop with the red roof. And this, I presume, is the other twin. She explains to us that this shop sells things you can get in the forest for free. Then why does anybody shop here? Also, she's very giggly, apparently. Tutorializes us on equipping the shield or something. Alright, so like she said, we can get most of this stuff for free, so we would be fools to pay for it. The Deku shield, however, we have no choice, we have to buy it. So we will. We hold it over our heads and it hovers and spins there for some reason. That's how you get items in Hyrule. I can't skip this text. No, you scam artist. I'm out of here. Alright, now we have to equip our shield. Equipped. Now we're ready for adventure. No. Alright, let's see. This kid says... Mido's making him cut the grass at Saria's house. Mido told Saria he would do it so she would like him, but then he makes someone else do it. Oh, there's a love triangle in progress. So Saria likes Link. Mido likes Saria. And Link just seems oblivious to all of this. Fairly typical love triangle. Saria's house. There's really nothing to see in there. So we will be polite and not barge into her place without her permission. However, we can run up to the top of her house. No! Dang it. Okay. It's such a narrow walkway. Let's try that again without the derpage this time. Alright, let's get the target, the camera right behind us. Alright, now we can run forward without jumping off. There's no real reward for doing this, but it's kind of interesting. Also, this girl has a funny bit of dialogue, which is... Hee hee, you came all the way up here? You're a real man! Because only a real man can walk up a ramp and across a couple of bridges, apparently. Isn't this view pretty? Change your viewpoint with up C, so you can look around the forest. What a very polygonal face you have. What a charmer. Get all the ladies with lines like that. Alright. Let's proceed with the story now. I think we've gotten the gist of Link's situation and how things are here in the Kokiri village. Alright, Mido, we've got our equipment. Yep. That's the way it goes. Yeah, they weren't hard to get. Good grief. It's Charlie Brown all of a sudden. We'll see about that. Well, here's a hint, Mido. It helps not to be a pathetic loser. Later, dude. Enjoy lording it over the other Kokiri. you tyrant. Whoa! Suddenly, Deku Babas appear. Though it looks withered, it will hurt you if you touch it. And we'll stab it with our sword, just like a true hero does. And we get a Deku stick. We can set it on fire and use it as a weapon. Setting it on fire is by far the more useful application of Deku sticks. Hello, Great Deku Tree. What a magnificent mustache he has. I do like how he speaks in old, what would that be, Edwardian English? So we can say no, but then he just tells us, oh, you lack confidence, go train and come back. So we'll just say yes. If I have to. Alright, and now we finally get to enter the first dungeon of the game. The tutorializing, well, it's not exactly over. The first dungeon still kind of sort of tutorializes us a bit, but we're getting there. Also, this is a very cool environment for the first dungeon. I really like it. This is so atmospheric. Well, Great Deku Tree, your insides look pretty infested with spider webs. Seems you have a bit of a problem. These Deku Babas are a little more aggressive. They'll actually try to bite us. But they are no match. We get a Deku Nut, which basically you toss it and you can temporarily stun enemies. We'll see if I remember to ever use those. There's a pretty good chance I won't. Get wrecked. What is it, Navi? We can see down below this web using up C. We can indeed. Looks like quite a long fall underneath this web. Thanks, Navi. This game was made in the era where games had a tendency to do excessive tutorializing and constantly interrupt gameplay to tell you things like, press the stick to move, press A to jump. Fortunately, the farther we get into the game, the less we'll have to put up with all that. We also could climb to the ladder. Yeah, I really like the Deku Tree. Great atmosphere in here. All the dungeons in this game are incredible. Skull Waltillas. So if we try to climb these vines, the Skull Waltillas will wreck us. I don't remember if there's a way to cancel the lock-on. If there is, I'm not sure what it is, which is a little annoying. Okay, yep, I can't really see, game. There we go. We open up the chest. We get the dungeon map. We know how dungeon maps work. Can bring up our status screen and take a look. So, as you might imagine for a tree, it's kind of a tower with a whole bunch of relatively small floors. That's not a huge dungeon, because, you know, it's the first dungeon of the game. No. You know, it just now occurred to me for the first time ever, all the times I've played this game, this is obviously artificial construction inside the Deku Tree. Like, these are boarded walkways. Who built this? Is the Deku Tree okay with us using dead tree material to build walkways inside him, a live tree? Oh my god, Navi. Yes, I can open doors. Thanks. Thanks. I can't skip your text. Oh my goodness. Alright. Oh, the door is locked behind us. We are faced with the most fearsome of enemies, a Deku Scrub. We reflect his nut back at him. That sounded a little wrong. Then we chase him down, and he grovels for his life. So that's a tip on how to avoid falling damage, but if you jump from a sufficiently high altitude, then it won't work, and you'll take the falling damage anyway. I mean, I guess that's a useful tip if you didn't already know about it. Nothing else in this room for us. We can look up to verify that. Yep, just a blank ceiling. On to the next room. Platform drops underneath us, which means no getting back for us. There is a ladder mysteriously up on the wall, out of reach. I do love this item acquisition sequence. And the different little ditties that play. Man, this is a memory that sticks with you forever. This little item acquisition sequence still plays in my mind all the time. Okay, I can't skip the tutorializing. It's painful. Alright. So now we actually have to equip items to the C buttons, which, since I'm not using a real Nintendo 64 controller, I have mapped them to the right analog stick, which works reasonably well. Hopefully I'll remember what I have mapped to what. I mean, it is nice, convenient icons in the upper right corner, which will help me remember. Maybe it will be easier to just lock onto that. And that's the solution to that puzzle. Now that's the kind of tutorial I like, where you get a new item, and you're stuck in a room, and the only way to leave the room is to figure out how to use the item. It's a much better way of teaching the player how to do things than just interrupting him with an annoying fairy saying, here's how to open a door. Now you can move faster if you constantly roll. It is technically faster than running, but I'm not going to do that. I hate playthroughs where people just do things like roll or jump everywhere they go. I find it really annoying, so I'm not going to do that. Except in cases where speed is absolutely critical. Alright, so now we have to get up to the 3rd floor. Now that we have a slingshot, we can make short work of these skull Waltulas. I do like the spiders with the skull-shaped bodies. It's really distinctive. I guess one downside of mapping the C buttons to the right analog stick is it does increase the chance of hitting the wrong button, because, like, if I accidentally hit more to the left than down, then I'll pull out a Deku stick when what I wanted to do was pull out the slingshot, but needs must. I mean, I gotta figure out a way to map these buttons that don't exist on my current controller somehow. Okay, that's twice in the span of a few seconds I've made that particular mistake, though. There we go. Such mysterious music. Really, when it wants to, this game just does a fantastic job of creating a mysterious atmosphere. It's one of the things I like the most about it. Alright, so this is a big Skulltula. Navi tells us its soft belly is its weak point. So the key to beating it is you actually just wait for it to expose its soft underbelly, and then a single jump slash takes care of it. Why they expose their soft underbellies to us when their front is basically invulnerable, who knows? Spiders aren't very intelligent. Alright, so this is an interesting room. We've got an unlit brazier, a lit brazier, a switch, an alcove we can't reach, and a far platform we can't reach. So, step on the switch, That sound is a timer counting down. Alright, we can jump right past that guy into this alcove. Kill this additional spider creature. It drops a token. These are the gold Skulltulas. There's 100 of them in the game total. We are going to find a house of people who have a spider curse upon them. And the more gold Skulltulas... Well, it's very funny. The more gold Skulltulas we kill, the more prizes they'll have for us. There's a pretty good chance I'll try to get at least 50 gold Skulltulas, because the prizes you get up to 50 are good. The prize you get for all 100 gold Skulltulas is terrible. And finding all 100 is a really big to-do. So I probably won't bother finding all 100 of them. But we'll see. Okay. The timer has expired, so we're going to have to press the switch again. Just jump across. And we acquire the compass. So this room is actually completely optional, because you don't need to get a gold Skulltula or the compass. But it's useful to get these things. There's a reason this Deku Baba is here. Because we need a Deku Stick, which he drops, in order to get out of here. So this is the game teaching us about another common puzzle element. If we focus on that brazier, Navi says it looks like that torch was burning not too long ago, which is a pretty obvious hint as to what we need to do. Pull out the Deku Stick, light it on fire, and use it to light the other brazier. This is a very, very common puzzle in the Nintendo 64 Zelda games. We'll be seeing a lot of variations of that. So now, a mystery. We've completely explored all the upper levels of the Deku Tree. So, how do we get to the lower levels? It's blocked by a spider web. Well, it turns out the answer, and this is the first thing that could constitute a potentially tricky puzzle that I could see people getting stuck at, is we need to jump onto the web from quite a height in order to break it, like so. Okay, I messed up. Great. I should have jumped a little farther. Well, let's climb back up then. Also, that's quite the scream from Child Link. Oh boy, we have to kill these things again. There, I'll just lock on. Okay, let's try not to mess up the jump this time, shall we? Take two. Alright. We did it. Look at us go. Now that could have been fatal if there was just hard ground underneath the web, but luckily we drop into water. Which, to be fair, can also easily be fatal. It's not like you're automatically safe if you hit water in real life. But this is a video game, so dropping onto water never hurts you. Alright, here's another gold Skulltula. You never seem to be able to lock onto gold Skulltulas, interestingly. This time we have to climb some vines to get his token. The reason I remember every little detail about the Deku Tree so far is because I went through this place for my test run to make sure the game was playing correctly and it was recording right and everything. I'm not going to remember every dungeon in quite this much detail, though I should remember them all fairly well. Anyway, I only did the top part of the Deku Tree during my test run, so now that we've dropped down here, we're in territory I haven't played in like 5 years. Pretty clearly we're going to have to burn that web over there. Alright. There's a switch. Oh, and another gold Skulltula. They're just everywhere. Okay, I just lit a brazier by standing on that switch. Alright. Skulltula token acquired. Come to think of it, where on earth did these braziers and these switches come from? Either. The more I think about the Great Deku Tree, the less sense it makes. Oh, there's a little chest here. Okay, great. I'm so thrilled and excited to have gotten that recovery heart. Hey. There you go. Okay, well, screwed that up. So, I thought this was shallower water, but it's not. Okay, so there's shallow water here, and then we can jump across. Alright. I think the solution to this puzzle is pretty clear. And burn away the webs. Voila. Oh, the Deku Stick burned away and is now gone from our inventory. If you pull out your sword before a Deku Stick fully burns away, then you don't expend it, which is preferable. Oh, another Deku Scrub. They're not terribly difficult to defeat. These guys really love to grovel, don't they? I'll teach you something cool. I question the use of the word cool. It's a little genre breaking. Oh, he's betraying his brothers. All right, do tell. "23 is number 1. Yeah, I kind of do think you're a traitor. Get out of here, you scum. Anything good in these shrubs? Oh, some refills and rupees, I'll take it. Alright, so another locked door with an eyeball above it. Solution to this puzzle, shoot the eyeball. Of course, what else would the solution be? It's just kind of habit for me to pull out my sword at all times. Alright, well this is an inviting looking room. Very welcoming. Okay, thanks for the tip, I guess. Well then, what's down there? Aha, there's a switch. Good to know. Really, the more I see of the Great Deku Tree, the more questions I have. Where did this mechanism come from? My eternal habit of overthinking things. Oh, there's that timer clock sound. Alright, so since it lowered the water level, the platform now goes underneath the rotating spiked log, and we won't get impaled by riding it. Get wrecked. I can figure these things out, Navi, really. I'm not an idiot. Oh my gosh, why? I can figure this out. It's so painful. I can't skip it. You already told me to pay attention to what the action icon says. You know, unlike some games, where I feel like people hate on, for example, Ashley Graham in Resident Evil 4 more than is really justified, I absolutely understand why people complain about Navi being annoying. Oh my goodness. Alright. So yeah, it's a standard block pushing puzzle. I don't think it really required all that explanation. Get wrecked, Deku Baba. Battle music is still playing. There's more Deku Babas. Alright, another brazier lighting puzzle. Light the brazier, there you go. Okay. Get another couple rupees, or refills, or whatever. So this should look familiar, because we are now on a... Never mind, I'm wrong. Forget everything I was just about to say, viewers. Wow, what are these horrors? Navi, I'm sorry I called you annoying. Please tell me about them. Goma larva. Look out when it gets ready to pounce. Goma, you say? Link is very acrobatic and can do cool backflips, as well as blocking things with his shield. But I think we can all agree that backflipping out of the way of incoming attacks is cooler. Ouch. What's not cool is just taking the hit. Alright. Goma larvae defeated. Now, let's check our map. Where have we been? Seems to indicate that we've been everywhere. So this little alcove doesn't lead to a new room or anything. But surely there will be something interesting in there, or why would it exist? Right? The logic is infallible. Oh, there's a Deku Baba, which drops a Deku stick. I don't really see anything else in here. This may be a bombable, excuse me, bombable wall, which maybe has a gold Skulltula behind it or something. So I think we're going to need to come back here when we have bombs if we really want to get this. I'm relatively unlikely to bother doing that because it will be way out of our way in the future. But we'll see. Let's run over here, burn away these webs. Okay, now, I was one room ahead of myself. This should look familiar. Now we are back in the room we dropped down to when we pierced through the web from above, except now we're on a ledge that we couldn't reach before. Now we've got a bit of a puzzle that we have to solve. We need to light a Deku stick and set this web on fire, but unfortunately these braziers are too high up for us to light our Deku stick. First, let's kill these Deku Babas so they don't cause us any problems. Get wrecked, you. Now, the solution to this puzzle is we need to push the cool-looking crescent moon block. You can do it, Link. Keep pushing. Alright, and now we can jump from the lower area to the upper area, which means we can light a Deku stick using that brazier, and... okay, not like that. Let's try this again. This time with 100% less failure. And 100% more success. Alright, we swing our Deku stick with the same C button that we used to pull it out. And it burns away the web. And Link gets to drop down into more disgusting, cursed tree water. Oh. It's a trio of Deku Scrubs. Do you remember the hint from the trader before? 231, 23 is number 1. Now, fighting all three of these guys at the same time can actually be a little tricky. Okay, 2, 3, and 1. If you do it in the wrong order, you can't beat these guys. How did you know our secret? How irritating. Well, your brother betrayed you. It's so annoying that I'm going to reveal the secret of Queen Goma to you, okay? Sound logic. In order to administer the coup de grace to Queen Goma, strike with your sword while she's stunned. Oh, Queenie. Sorry about that. They're so quick to betray their friends. Deku scrubs seem like a bit of an unscrupulous lot, don't they? Alright, so pretty obvious that the boss of the first dungeon is going to be Goma. We all remember Goma from the very first Link game. Now that she's rendered in full 3D, she's become a little creepier. I don't think eyeballs work that way. This was such a cool moment the first time I ever played this game. Oops. There we go. Seems like I'm going to be making the mistake of hitting the stick in the wrong direction quite a few times. What's Navi have to say about this? It's one of the parasitic monsters inside the Deku tree. Its eye is vulnerable when it's red. Not just that, it's the queen of the parasitic monsters in the Deku tree. Alright. You can hit her while she's up there. She'll try to spawn more Goma larvae while she's up there, but if you hit her in the eye, it can cause her to drop down before she spawns any of them, and make very quick work of this boss fight. But yeah, I think that's a very, very cool rendition of Goma. Obviously a lot more dramatic than the battle with Goma from the original Zelda. And she leaves behind a heart container. Let's not fail to pick that up. That's the first dungeon complete. Well, that's going to do it for this episode. In the next episode, we will leave the Great Deku Tree and see what it has to say to us now that we have broken the curse and freed it of its parasitic infestation. Hopefully you'll join me for that, and I'll see you then.